we have a full agenda, and given the fact that,
Are you up? Carol, are you up?
I am now.
okay, so we have a reasonably full agenda, and given that we're in the holiday season, and I'm sure everybody's lives are rather more complicated than a standard second Tuesday of the month, I wish to call the meeting to order. I'll begin with roll call. Drew Jarmanowski, Chairman, I'm here. Vice Chairman Jennifer Helton.
Here.
Secretary Catherine McGovern is not here. Laura Ray.
Here.
Alan Johnson. Here. Cheyenne Riemann, not here. Chad Heimbecker.
Here.
Janine Bonham, not here. Russell Sutton. Here. Winfield Clark.
Here.
Kurt Balch.
Here.
And we have a vacant non-voting member, and Carol Schneider is here. Okay, that moves us to Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no executive session, and so Jennifer and Kathy have been working hard on the bylaws over the past year, if not more. And so I'll turn it over to Jennifer to discuss the sort of outcome of their work.
Thank you. So what you got in, and I also have to acknowledge Laura Ray's been very much involved in it, supporting us. So it has been over a year. We talked about it, taking the old bylaws that were approved back in 2010, and we updated it. So we were going back and forth. So what you have is our revised. Steve has reviewed it, but it's gone back for him to look at it one more time. And what we're hoping is, this is just kind of a basic read, today's meeting, and then we would meet next month, go in and vote on it, and then it would go to council for approval. And what we have for you to make it a little easier is kind of a compare what was in 2010 and what we changed in 2025. So you can kind of go through and read, and then if there's changes, I'd like to discuss them tonight, but you know, we're open to not pushing this through any quicker. As you see, it's taken us over a year anyway, because a lot of discussion, understanding, reviewing. So basically, I didn't know if anyone had the opportunity to read and had any questions or concerns, and we can go through that. But we're not voting on it today. Our vote will come next month. So it gives you time, but hopefully if you do have changes, we would want to have a final copy for January's meeting. That's our goal, is to get this to council for their meeting, hopefully the end or the beginning of February, end of January, beginning of February.
Yeah, Robert's rules basically can be applied several ways. One is, before voting on something that represents change, the material should be distributed several weeks before the meeting with the announcement that members should read them and be prepared to vote. Or very often, we meet the spirit of that law by having a reading, as it were, as we will tonight, a discussion, and then vote in a subsequent meeting. I have one question. Let me see. I have two questions. I have two comments.
Sure.
I mean, I drew two things to my. Okay. Yeah, I only have one question then, regarding Article 4 membership. So we maintain the distributions of members insofar as 7 voting and 5 associates. And in the past, there was a requirement for 1 voting member being on the planning commission. Now the proposed change is no requirement for a planning commission member. I'm fine with that. In the years that we did have that requirement, I'm not sure that I could readily point to one, and certainly not 2 moments where I felt like that was essential. Okay, that's just my observation.
Okay.
The other, this is a question, is in the past, there was a limit of having 2 elected officials on this committee. The proposed change would limit it to 1 elected official. Now, I'm assuming we're talking about council members or just 2?
We are.
Okay,
We are, and if I could interject,
so yeah, I have a question about that.
it is non-vote, what our recommendation is, only 1 elected official could have a voting position, but
Okay.
they would not be in a position of chair, co-chair, or secretary.
Okay.
The role would be just as a voting member, not hold authoritative.
So that would be,
position.
one position. 1 person could be a voting member and an elected member of council. But we can't have 2 elected members of council.
We could, but they would be in a, no,
Want to be in a non-voting.
non-voting. The
Okay.
difference in when you're,
Okay,
yeah, or both non-voting, but they couldn't be voting.
okay.
And we've had this before, so this was a big discussion with going through
Okay.
other bylaws and recommendations.
Okay.
Good question.
So there can be more than 1 council member on the EAC, but only one of them may be a voting member.
Correct.
Okay.
They cannot
Cannot hold a
position.
They don't be the chair,
chair
the vice chair.
or the vice chair. Yeah,
Okay, one other question.
please.
This is no suggestion, but I know on some other committees that I've been involved with, not township related at all, but that are governed by Robert's rules. Sometimes a similar situation like this would be such where there could be, say, 2 ex officio members on a committee, but between the 2 of them, they get 1 vote. So they have to discuss between themselves what, you know, and of course, then you can get to a stalemate too. So I just am raising that. That's not what
Yeah.
you intend.
No.
You intend, okay, 1 voting member, 1 associate member.
Right,
Or non-voting member.
right.
Okay, so let's,
That's our
Say-
Don't have
recommendation.
to be any
So-
either, it's
Yeah.
not a requirement.
It's not a requirement
wait, what's not a requirement?
to have a council person.
Right, no, but my next question is then, to operationalize something like this, in a case where we have, say, 2, at the moment, say, 2 or 3 council members on this committee, and then we're transitioning to a new rule, then does that mean that only 1 person retains a voting position, 1 or 2, however, in this case, let's be direct, there are 2
To council.
There will be 2 council members in the next year
Correct.
who are on this committee. So then one of those council members have to, in essence, recuse themselves from voting in perpetuity.
Correct,
Or be restated as an associate member.
correct.
Okay.
And then we would
we don't-
move.
Do we have a procedure for that, or would we hope it would be among the result of a discussion or a person just choosing?
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah, I think it's a discussion.
We'll arm wrestle or something like that.
Do that, or rocks, paper, scissors?
Yeah. And then what would happen, obviously, is a non-voting would be moved up to the voting position in this case, because we have 2 voting people.
Wouldn't
Right.
we still be following the older bylaws though, until the new one gets passed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, let me ask that about vacancies and promotion of members. If we refer to Article 8 here under vacancies, Part B, when filling a voting member vacancy, preference should be given to associate members. I'd like to see that changed to shall be. That I don't. I want it to be that you have to be an associate member of the EAC in order to become a voting member. That you cannot be made a voting member outright.
Seems prudent.
Sure, a person who has been experienced, understands the operation of the committee and so forth.
Well, shall doesn't mean must, right?
Shall is must,
Okay.
not
Okay.
should. Should is optional.
okay,
It needs to be shall, and I wouldn't even say preference. I would just say shall be given to an associate member as elected by the committee.
This is why it took us forever, right?
Yes,
We
yes.
reworded things about
Yes.
100 times.
And every time we went back to read it, everyone had a, so we'll take it out, but I will tell you, if Steve reviews and says no,
You know, to see if we did this one before.
then just be prepared that there's some things that he may, but he's been really good. He had no major issues,
Understand.
so
I'm offering my opinion.
we are putting it in.
If I
Laura
may,
Ray, I want to retroactively say I apologize for not mentioning you as a member of the subcommittee working on
Lots of
this,
fun.
so.
It's okay.
another question just on, while we're looking here, on Article 4, Section 2, final paragraph, last line, there's a cross out for such.
Oh, did I miss it? Shoot. Where is it again? Sorry.
Last line, top paragraph of page 2.
On the old, that's the old one, isn't it?
No.
Oh, no, that's.
Article 4, Section 2, last paragraph, last line, second to last word, such is crossed off.
Article 4.
4, Section 2, the last sentence of that section,
Oh, yeah, sorry, I missed that.
with a recommendation from the EAC to remove
Yep,
such member.
that's okay. I will,
That was just done on the phone in the car.
yeah, we did our final review.
And I'm not sure, there looks like there's a font formatting change in Article 4, Section 1, where the associate member shall not be non-voting. I'm not sure what that means, but it looks like it's just justified instead of the
Oh, that's
font
fine.
space.
It's just,
I mean, it's not, doesn't have any effect on the text,
That's,
it's just a formatting
Yeah.
issue. That's,
Font,
and
okay.
then I have one more
okay.
comment here regarding Section 2 as well, where we are requesting that, the members are present at meetings consistently and actually involved so we can get the business done at hand. So the judgment or the basis for removal from the EAC would be if you are absent from any 3 consecutive regular meetings, or who is absent from 6 regular monthly meetings during any 12-month period without reasonable cause.
Right.
Now, if I refer back to let's see here. This is an attendance log of everyone. Good job, everyone, for showing up consistently. Kathy's made all the meetings. I have. Jennifer, you've been here.
So with your point, yes, it's well taken, and what we're hoping to get done, but not necessarily, we don't want to put every single issue in the bylaws, is that when attendance is taken, if someone does not reply to Carol, it becomes a absentee, non-approved absence.
Yeah.
Because we can't
But if
just
you tell her you're gonna
cancel a
come.
meeting because we don't have a quorum. We need to know who did not reply.
Right.
So that is assumed and should be positioned in that log as absent, non-approved. Because when someone has, like Alan, a medical issue, and we know he's out due to medical
Reasonable cause.
cause,
Yes.
but we don't want to add all that.
Yes, I
That's-
understand.
Okay.
Well, there is a singular voting member who has not attended
We know.
majority of sessions.
And we,
put that in the bylaw.
yeah, we're in a. So one of the things, real quick, I should have probably started, there were a couple areas that we did add that were missing, for example, compensation. There was nothing, we just made it clear that we wouldn't be compensated. I think that's known, but that is, a lot of bylaws for an EAC had that. I did use We Conserve, and, a lot of the bylaws that have been done over Pennsylvania, so some of these reference that. And then the duties, just basically saying that members will assist in an active role was added, which is Article 7 duties. The other thing we added, just to be transparent, is Article 10, if there's a conflict of interest, we look to anybody to declare and abstain from any decisions. If that ever was to happen, it can. So we did add that. And then we also added that we are not, if we are going to speak for the EAC, it's approved in advance by Jay, the city manager, that, you know, when you're speaking, you can always say what you can for yourself, but if you're speaking and representing the EAC, you know, you have to remember your role. So those were kind of the new items that we did add.
Was vacancies added also?
No.
It was just
The
you?
numbers were different. It
Okay.
was,
Oh, that one got bumped.
Yeah, we took out.
yeah, it went from
some.
4 down to 3.
We had something about hearings in the old ones, which.
Yeah, we did take that, oh,
Got rid of, because we don't have hearings.
hold on a second. Yeah, there was a whole section on hearings we don't do. We did remove that.
What was that in the old one?
Article 10,
Okay.
hearings, which is in the old one.
Yes.
And then, of course, we moved the numbers up a bit. And then, I think, oh, we added the issue of being recorded with YouTube, because there was no reference of electronic, you know, YouTube, or any reference to that.
I don't think it existed.
It didn't exist in 2010, yeah. So we did add that.
Good job, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Saw a
thank
small-
you.
A small type, oh, no, this is the old one, never mind. It's a typo in this one.
Oh.
Oh, there was
Yeah,
a
we-
typo in the old one?
Hopefully we didn't keep it. You never know.
No, we've been
That's a
through it.
0. Is that good? I don't know. Yeah, it's-
All right, so any other corrections, concerns?
No,
No,
Okay.
I think you did a fine job, so thank you all. And
Appreciate
then
it.
next month, this will be brought up again and brought to a vote. And of course, contingent to any further feedback or interaction.
Yes, and Carol, I will correct it and get it back to you, so you can get it to Steve. Okay. And I'll send it back out to everybody, just so, for your reading pleasure. Okay, thanks.
Okay, the next sort of subcommittee, this is a sort of preliminary step in the open space, goals. One thing I think is an important starting point before we really dig into that open space, plan as it's written. It is, 20 years old, give or take. And so many things in there certainly are every bit as relevant today as they were then. But there certainly are things that need to be changed. But I think it's important, one of the, I would say, guiding principles, guardrails, and constraints on what we can do with open space, I think requires us to go back to the initial ordinance that was revoted on, I think it was in 2016. And so that's why I wanted to distribute this, so we could read this and see what it is that the EAC at the time and council told the residents of the township that they were voting on, and what the various parameters were. And so I think we, in my opinion, not being an attorney, that we are held to these guidelines, because these were the expectations of the people who voted for or against this. And so the one thing that is still a hanging part for me, maybe Laura Ray knows, Carol, maybe you know, or maybe this is another one of these places where we have to say, could you, as sort of liaison with the township, dig into this? I'll draw your attention to the specific point. It just takes me a second. I had underlined several things, so I want to make sure I get to the right place. Okay, so this is on page 3, section 2, item E. And so under the heading of improve or maintain property acquired for open space benefits, there's excuse me, it reads, the township could use up to 10% of the annual revenue collected to improve and maintain property acquired under the act in accordance with, and here's the part that I think is missing, at least from my knowledge base, is in accordance with specific guidelines established by township council. So this is my question for Laura Ray, relying on her memory, or Carol, on your active knowledge base, or for us to request information from council, is what are these specific guidelines that are written in past tense as established by township council?
Which line are we on? Where, what page?
Page three,
Page three.
section 2, item E, the very last line in that sentence, suggesting, and we're all aware of the 10% agreement for annual revenue collected to approve and maintain property acquired under the act, and it's constrained by this phrase, in accordance with specific guidelines established by township council. What those guidelines are unknown to me, and I assume probably unknown to all of us. And then that raises the question, are there specific guidelines that have been established that council has created or are aware of? If not, that's a lacuna. There's a hole here that is not filled, has not been filled, or perhaps it has, we just don't know it. So do you know, Laura?
I do not, actually,
Okay.
because, you know,
Yeah.
we've used it for obviously other things, but I don't know what guidelines were ever
Yeah.
adopted, other than, you know, what's in writing here in the agreement where it says, use it for debt, use it for
Right, so
buying
there's
property,
this,
use it for,
it seems
what
to
they
me that there's an
improve or maintain.
expectation that there are guidelines in place.
that's a good catch.
And maybe there aren't. And so I guess the sensible thing to do, Carol, is to ask you if you can raise this question with the township manager. But of course, I think
I
the
will.
answer is gonna be,
Oh,
we don't know, right?
we'll have to go digging.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jay won't know.
yeah.
Yeah, Jay won't know.
I'm
We
not
have to
sure
dig.
anyone would at the moment because of the number of years that have elapsed since this was brought before the residents. So I guess
Okay.
for the moment, we're all aware of this question and how to resolve it remains to be seen. But I guess we could start, Carol, by you bringing it to the township manager's attention and to township council in the next year when township council's reconstituted and so forth, and just simply to point this out and make it a matter for township council to address.
Is it possible that when this was passed, that a voting member of the EAC was also on the township board, and there was that interplay that they made the recommend, and then it just got lost to time? That's kind of what.
Laura,
Makes
you
sense.
weren't on council at that time, or were you?
No,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't on council then, but,
You were the liaison
Sandy
still
and
in
Tom
those
would have
days?
been in 2016,
I'm sorry, who would have, I apologize?
Sandy.
I'd say Sandy and Tom
Okay.
were at that time period, I would say.
So they may know.
But I
one
don't
way or the
know
other,
if
but-
guidelines were, you know, it would have had to been set up by resolution somewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe if we do some word search on resolutions.
Back from
And-
around this time period, right?
Well, even before, well, we'll have to see what the prior,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
because
Right,
this
'cause
is
the
actually
question
the
is the
third.
carryover,
this is
yeah.
This is the
Third one.
third round of the open space tax, so
Yeah, it's from 2006
see if it was
originally.
worded this way in the prior
First and
two.
second.
If it just showed up here, that would give us a better clue when to look. If it's always was there,
Carol, can you dig out the other two versions of this and check? Is that? Yeah. So if you could do that, that would be helpful so we can try to resolve this. Just to know, was this there and was just a carryover and a carryover?
right?
And maybe it was
And
never
nobody-
resolved,
that could very well be true.
yeah.
Yeah,
That
but
might
could
have
it be
been a-
in this open space action plan dated April 4th, 7?
I didn't see anything in there
Okay.
to that effect.
I didn't think to look.
Because there weren't, I don't believe there were the specificity about, for example, the 10% available for
Okay.
improvement and maintenance of properties and so forth.
Okay.
And somewhere along the line, I think that was a new item. That is to say, specifying that 10% of the annual drawdown could be used for maintenance and so forth. I don't think it was
Right, I
there in
don't
the
think
first
it
place.
was there before, you're correct. 'Cause
Okay.
That's where we came up with this differential between, now I think we can use 25%, but that only applied to the older ones where we didn't have this 10% specified.
And we had this, now
And we
again,
did get a breakdown of
yeah,
that.
we did have this conversation
Yes.
because then we asked how much money
Yes.
was accrued under
So
the
I
old
think that might be
guidelines.
answering the question of,
and then how much
this
was
might
in
be
the
the
new
first time
guidelines.
this little clause showed up.
Yeah,
Can I ask a question
Please.
about D and E? We understand there's this 10% for improve and maintain property. We know about that. If you go back to D now, this is talking about specifically just acquisition of land. So I'm asking if it's still constrained, because it's saying for the purpose of purchase interest in real property for the purpose of developing additional recreational facilities for residents or for historic preservation purposes. So that's just the property without limit.
I'm sorry, without,
Without limit.
yes.
So the property itself can be purchased without limit, but any structural modifications for historic preservation purposes falls under the 10% limitation?
That would be my take.
That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah.
It's for improvement or maintenance only, not
Yeah,
acquisition.
this is for
Yeah.
acquisition.
Okay,
Yeah, that's how I'm reading it too.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that the state might have changed the law. Originally, when they made up this law for,
Oh, hold on now.
I don't think that 10% for maintenance was in there. Then they changed it and made it available for maintenance. If I remember.
Yeah, that's where we got the 25% part, where they said you can use up to 25%. So we applied that to the older money, because nobody mentioned it, but in here, they spelled it out as
Specified as
10%,
10%.
so that's why we have like 2 aisles to keep track of.
Because we did definitely parse that out
Yes,
in the reasonably recent past.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I guess Carol, if you could dig into this a bit, you have a full sense of what we're
Guidelines.
struggling with, right? Okay. Okay, so, again, part of my reason for this was moving forward to update the open space, program and guidelines should be couched within, what the ordinance, specifies. So I'm just trying to clarify those elements of this, and then we can move forward. Okay, so then that next item under subcommittees, I'm not sure, Chad, if you have anything to comment on regarding stormwater management?
Not at this time.
Okay,
I'm still in process on going through
yeah.
the report.
So one thing too that would be helpful moving forward is too, if we would, let's see. Only you and I see the draft. Okay, you and I should, between the two of us, then just try to be a little more vigilant.
Yeah.
To reach out to subcommittees, for example, just quick email to Chad, say, hey, should we keep this on the agenda for this month? If there's nothing new to report, then it feels like we're putting people on the spot when that's not anybody's intention.
Well, I don't know. I kind of think it should be there, because we should still have a conversation about the
Okay.
status update and what's going on.
Gives you a reminder that,
Okay,
I mean,
Well, the reach out may be, do you want anything to be in the packet
yeah,
for a pre-read?
there's nothing to
Okay.
there's nothing to present, but I will give you an update that I've been
Sure.
going through the stormwater report and the documents that are attached to that and trying to organize things. And You know, like, for instance, there's this one where we have a design guide for homeowners regarding rain gardens published by the University of Connecticut Cooperative Extension System. And something like that, it has native species for Connecticut in it. Huh? Yes, yes. So native species for Connecticut, which might not be wildly off from Pennsylvania. However, I think it would be better if that would be replaced with a Penn State extension resource instead. So that's all. Things like that's just one example of what I found.
Okay. Calendar subcommittee, Kathy's not here, so we can move forward with that next meeting. We have new business, would be designation of EAC meeting, time, date, and place. And we, Carol, help me with that. We do this at this meeting for next year. Is that the plan? So we simply, I think this is rather straightforward, right? We have the list, which is always second Tuesday of the month. So I guess an FYI, unless there's any concerns, but I think this is the established plan. It's meant to mix in with other meetings of the township, so so that's in the packet.
And then January 13th will be our
Reorganization, yes. Okay. And again, just one of these excused absences, I won't be on the continent then, so I could try to do something via the phone. I think the phone is the easiest, right? There's no need to Zoom for something like this, so I could do that. But just giving you a heads up, Carol, that I won't be around, and I'll just have to go through the time change and make sure my schedule, January 13th, that I can parse out a presence.
Do we need to put anything in the bylaws to say that attendance can be virtual?
It's a good idea.
Because we have done that.
Yeah, we've done it. I don't know if you have to put it in bylaws. I mean,
It's
it
just,
happens at council, it happens at Parks and Rec.
okay.
I don't,
It probably all started with COVID for everybody, I
well,
would imagine.
then, yeah, then we were all on Zoom, but, yeah, I don't know if we need to.
Okay, not to
If
exclude.
the other committees and groups are functioning,
Normal.
okay. Okay, very
As
good.
needed.
But just an FYI, I'll have to phone in on that day.
Okay,
Okay, and then we have someone who stepped forward to fill the role of junior council member, but we wait until council approves that, and then we'll move forward at the next meeting or the one after that.
Good, excellent.
yep.
So that's
I
good.
actually have 2 applications.
2.
Oh, that's great.
So I don't know if that's something that we review and consider and we have to pick one.
No.
Can we have
We have,
both?
we have multiple on others, so
Okay,
we'll take.
Oh, yeah, that's
we'll take
right,
what we can get.
right.
Yeah, and so much the
I
better,
don't
because
see where the,
they get busy with other things, and so it improves the likelihood of having some representation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
'cause
2
sometimes
students from the high school
Good, that's
submitted
wonderful.
applications.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's wonderful. May I add something to new business?
Sure.
I think in light of a voting individual, Cheyenne not being here, she has, if we look at the attendance, not been here consecutively for 4 as it stands, as well as 6, but can we go ahead and process?
they might complain because we're doing business that
New
wasn't on
business.
the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
Not to be.
Can we do that
Carol, can we add that?
on reorganization?
Yeah, can we add review the attendance? Cheyenne, because she did state she was going to keep her position for non-voting. She did.
I thought she was a voting member.
She is a voting.
She's a voting
So
member.
she's-
She's attended 4.
She has
Isn't that-
stated
isn't it
she
the end
wanted
of
to
her
come
term?
back.
I don't know what the end of her term is.
Didn't she start 3 years ago, or?
Yeah, this is her end in December. She would come back to start a new 3-year.
Wouldn't
Well-
she have to be appointed for that? Or-
No.
No,
She's-
it's automatic?
It's not automatic. technically.
technically.
I mean, there is an appointment letter that we always receive. So that suggests it isn't automatic, or why would we
Right.
go through the exercise?
Or have a 3-year term in the first place,
Yeah.
Okay.
start and end.
Now, that raises an interesting question, though, too. I'm not anticipating this. This would, of course, work on a year-to-year basis, right? So everyone's calendar starts anew, or at the next meeting, could a conversation be had regarding a continuing member's attendance in the previous year? Is this tied to a previous year, or is it a,
Continuous.
so you look at
Rolling
the last 12 months,
Yeah.
or the last
Rolling
12 meetings?
It should be rolling 12, right?
Yeah, it's rolling, the way it
Is that what it
says.
stated?
So in which case, this is something that we should,
This is the past
Yeah.
12, so.
given the conversation, I think we would want this on the agenda next month.
Yes.
And then there are procedures for those of you who may not have been on the committee, but I think most of us, if not all of us, were the last time we invoked this expectation, this rule, where a couple of members had not been fulfilling their obligation to participation as outlined, and then speaking a little bit with a broad brush, because I don't have the rules in front of me, as I recall, we, as a committee, have have the township write a letter to the or the individuals whose attendance has not met the rules, and then they could attend the following meeting to explain their absence. Again, I'm not reading that from the regulations, but that's the spirit of it. And so we have followed that procedure, and so I think this should be on the agenda for the next meeting.
It does say here in section 2, it's like during any 12-month period,
Okay,
not prior. I might want to see that change to,
It implies rolling.
okay.
yeah, I would think
But
that's
you go
what
back
it
2
means.
years.
You're not gonna go back 2 years. Like if it's July and we review it, it would be from July to July.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I just don't want to leave an opening for, so this has not been adopted, these bylaws, obviously.
No.
So we can't enact.
We always had this.
Yeah, you have to go to
though,
the
You have to go to
old
the
one.
pre-existing, there
It's
are
actually a
pre-existing.
four meeting thing.
You just need the pre-existing Article 4. It's 4 consecutive, 6 and 12.
It was already in there.
Okay,
Fine-tuned it.
okay. So
I mean, again, the
if it's in
justification,
the existing bylaws, can we initiate that process this month at this meeting?
No, because it wasn't
It wasn't on
on,
the agenda, and there's all
Yeah.
kinds of agenda laws that you should
yeah, so we can't.
learn in boot
So
camp.
this is 4, so that can be put on the agenda
Well,
for next
apparently
month.
And then-
apparently the Commonwealth Superior Court just decided a couple weeks ago.
I know, they did just change it, but it's really bad form, in my opinion,
Yeah,
to
I
do that, you
agree
know.
with that as well.
It's not a
So
good habit to.
we will publicize this for the next meeting as an agenda item
as an agenda item, and then
during
it's
reorganization.
just review of
Yeah.
attendance. A simple question, review of member attendance.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Okay, we have no developer items, or, okay, so then updates and reports. Calendar of events, Chad, do you have any comments there?
No, I don't.
The one thing that's
Go ahead.
missing, and I was hoping we could slide it in under that, was, hope you all look at our accomplishments that
Right,
we did, and if I may speak.
Mhm.
We did a lot. We formed as a group, we went through a number of accomplishments, you know. We did a welcome pack that hopefully as new members come in, they get to have that. We worked on, obviously, the bylaws, and we attended various events, as well as our adopted spot in the spring and in the fall. We did the rain barrel, we did the storm management review with Paige from Northampton. Conservation District. So we've got a great momentum, and I just wanted to take a few minutes. It wasn't quite worded, and that's my fault, and Drew and I will get a little better at this, but we have a lot of great things that we've done, and so I want to hats off to the team and the committee, sorry, not the team. And then, we're working on the plastic bag and all that, so great job. Let's keep up the good work. And then she also added a couple of, some of the goals we have. Hopefully the salt we'll talk about, and open a public meeting on the salt issue with Chad coming from Little Lehigh.
Yes, Jennifer.
Jen, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
I just want to acknowledge that. So please take a few minutes if you haven't to read it. And
This might be something that we should put on our webpage. Because then it brings to it, anybody who, for example, sees the call for membership applications would sensibly say, yeah, well, what does this committee do? What does this council do? And so then having this available would give someone a sense of what we've accomplished. And in essence, that reflects what the Environmental Advisory Council is all about. So I think we should post this annually. So we could post the 2025 summary as we have it here. And then a year from now, post the 2026 summary. I don't think we need to update it week after week, month after month.
yeah, no.
But just post 25 and then
What
with the
we've accomplished.
expectation, the 2026 will do the same thing.
Yeah, and that ties into the MS4 reporting for stormwater,
Yeah.
that to catalog the information
Right,
of what
that
we've
brings
done,
these things together for that report.
to fill out the, best management practice for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a good year, and that's because of this committee has now consists of a lot of people who really want to serve and do things and pursue things. And so I think this is a manifestation of my comment earlier about membership on this council. For it to be effective and truly be an environmental advisory council, the members have to be people that have environmental ethic. And that's what's motivated the accomplishments that came from the body throughout the year. And so that's why I think it's quite important that we pay close attention to being able to make recommendations to council for appointments for this council. It speaks to issues of attendance, it speaks to issues of active participation. And having, the most basic level, I think it's probably pretty fair to assume that the reason such stipulations exist and expectations exist is to minimally have a quorum at each monthly meeting. But it's been a busy, good, productive year.
Yeah.
That brings us to road salt winter presentation and fall snapshot. Do we have I forget if we have a date
No, we do not have a date
Okay.
yet. That's in process.
Okay,
I guess it's just a question of, we have to do a public education, and I feel that this will qualify for it, right, and outreach. So if that's what we want to do, then I'll pursue it further.
will you pursue it, Chad, and try to find a date? And,
Yeah.
again, the next meeting is a reorganization meeting. There'll be a lot going on. So that's probably not obviously a good time to do this,
I
but
think we talked March,
Yeah.
right? I know,
Yeah,
but
might
I
not
think
be
we
good
talked,
weather.
Yeah, we talked about February, March.
yeah.
yeah, and then the advantage of that, putting it off a little bit, is it makes it a little bit easier to get the word out.
True.
But I
So
do
that-
want to do it while there's road salt being used,
Yeah,
so we can kind of connect the dots to everybody.
people can see the issue.
Yeah.
I would say if we could make it March, just for the sake, if we can get it out to like the watersheds, like Saucon Creek, Cooks Creek, and then, even Park and Recs, try to really generate a lot of involvement.
Well, Public Works specifically, if they could
Public Works.
be in attendance would be great.
Yeah, so,
and Stroud Water Research, if they could come up and be part of that as well. I mean,
Yeah,
so I'll contact Jennifer
Okay.
and Stroud and see what their availability is for February, March.
if you need any help, let me know.
Off the top of your head, do you know who is the Stroud representative? Is that David Bressler or someone else?
That's the name that sounds
Okay.
familiar.
We'll try to 1-2 punch him.
Okay.
I'll drop him an email too.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, he's a good person, but like a lot of people involved in things of this nature, his dance card's usually pretty full, but
Yeah,
but
and
he's
it's-
dedicated.
It's like an hour
Yeah.
and plus to get here, so that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's something we can do virtually too,
Yeah.
as well.
Okay,
Yeah, just
Just put them up on the
put them
screen.
up on the screen.
Yeah.
That would be great.
okay, that brings us to single-use plastics. Again, good idea to start putting some bullet point items under some of these items that are multiple fronts moving. So, Laura Ray, do you want to?
Well, I'm with both comments,
Yeah.
so what we did then, or what we discussed last time, which I had to refresh my memory, so the survey was a little bit different last time. We had like a whole big chunk in there, information on food safety and how microplastics affect your health, et cetera. So we discussed, we pull all that, a lot of wording out of the survey, keep the survey short questions, and write up a newsletter article, which I did not write up the newsletter article, but I will. And I'll have that for January. Well, I'll try to send it out before the January meeting so people have time to look at it. And then it should hopefully get into the next township newsletter,
And
which
we think, when is that most likely, Carol? The newsletter probably
I guess of
in
February.
March or?
Probably February,
So-
March.
Okay. If you could keep Laura Ray and Chad apprised of that, we know as conversations happen.
I don't think she sent out emails yet, but she'll send out an email to council.
Okay, yeah,
and
okay.
keep them-
So then that way it just, this way we don't miss any deadlines or something of that sort. We know where they are.
But at this point, the survey has been revised to modify it from just talking about plastic bag ban into single-use plastics as a plastics reduction. And it incorporates some of the food safety questions regarding reusable items, plates, utensils, cups, and straws. Questions 12 encompasses that, and shopping habits with reusable cups and straws. So, section 3, question 9. So at this point, I feel this is relatively finalized, and I would like to take the next month for everyone to provide any feedback or changes, and then put on the agenda for possibly January, if we have an opportunity, to approve this survey to be distributed.
Oh, we have to send it to council, so we could either talk about.
Or make a
approving
motion
it
at that
tonight.
time to send it to council for,
Okay.
Okay, good. Good work on that and taking the time to revise this. And Chad, you're such an active person here. So regarding the We Can Serve PA Network, the fall
yeah,
conference.
Lehigh Valley, well, just these two things should be split apart, but Lehigh Valley EAC specifically, I'm not sure, since the last, our meeting, we had the breakfast.
We had it right after.
We had it right after. So I'll give you an update on that. We had a breakfast at Quadrant Book
Okay,
Market
yeah.
in Easton. It was attended by probably 15 individuals, I would say, around there, maybe a dozen or so. Bethlehem, Easton, and a couple residents from the township as well were there. Jennifer, myself,
Yeah, in the watershed.
and
I would
Penn State.
say there was probably
There was-
25 people there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that whole table.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ballpark, 15 people.
Yeah.
Ish. And Penn State Extension, Master Watershed Stewards, a few of those. Nice breakfast. We all stood up and gave presentations on some status updates, which I did not bring that, and I apologize for not having those notes. But then after the breakfast, we went over to a microforest that is maintained by the city of Easton on Wood Avenue, and it's a really neat facility. They converted an old ball field, an unused ball field, into a fenced-in native habitat. Native species, shrubs, grasses, flowering plants, with pathways to go through and benches to sit. All the trees are identified as their species. They had a bug hotel where you stack the pallets up and you stick the bamboo in it so that it gives pollinator habitats. They do informational, educational activities there. There's also tags on the trees that they said that Lafayette Biology Department comes over and does metrics and evaluation. Like they'll count the number of branches or shoots that are coming off to try to do an evaluation. Outside, there was a tree that was cut, topped, and they put a roof, small little roof structures on it so that it wouldn't erode, and inset into the side of the trunk a seed bank that's open to the public to come and get native species of seeds. Neat idea. In the back, over a little bridge, there was a grove that was planted of native fruit trees, pawpaws and pears and apples like that. And then they have a structure, a couple buildings that are in the process of being completed where they can host educational facilities. It's really an inventive, neat idea, but it takes effort. And the gentleman from the city of Easton, Parks or Public Works, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but he's a forester.
He's the city forester.
He's the city forester.
Amazing gentleman, amazing knowledge, and he's very passionate about it, and you can see it in the way he takes care of that facility. It's his.
So
it's
this
his
is
baby.
Located
On Wood
east
Avenue.
of Piscatello's hardware there, and then west of the old Pfizer industrial site, or the road that goes up over Hackett Park.
I'm not sure in
Well,
reference to all
there's a
of-
footbridge that you can drive in and
there's a footbridge
park,
that goes
and there's a footbridge that's
Yes.
arched. Okay, so,
Maybe.
yeah, that's
Maybe.
what I thought.
If I would say anything, it's the 13th, it's east of 13th
Yeah,
Street.
yeah,
There's old brick warehouses.
Yeah.
right,
It's east of those old brick warehouses on Wood Avenue.
yeah, okay,
It's really nice.
And it's I want to go back when it's in bloom.
yeah.
I really want to see it in the spring.
Yeah, so further down just to the west is where this Piscatello's home and garden and hardware
I've been to
store
Pisco.
is.
Yeah, that's further
but-
west.
Yeah, but when you mentioned that footbridge is over a spring-fed brook called Spring Brook. And this is actually intriguing because this is something that just got uncovered through historical evaluation, that it was being referred to for a while as an unnamed tributary of the Bushkill Creek. And someone along the line said, no, there's a name for this. And there was even a tavern up at 25th Street, and photographs were discovered of Spring Brook Tavern and so forth. So that little channel is flowing now, when a lot of little channels of watersheds of that side aren't,
Okay.
because of the drought that we've been immersed in.
Yeah, that
So-
that brings up the unnamed tributary aspect. That was something part of the Master Watershed Steward Program. That there was someone out by Reading was doing a presentation about the importance of naming tributaries. When it's just unnamed tributary, it's easy to lose sight of it.
Right.
But when you give it a name, it has an identity, and then you become there's an emotional connection to what it is and the history behind it. That's really important for preservation.
And
Yeah.
how do you name a non-name?
How do you name an unnamed?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can have the community do a ballot or provide suggestions.
Referendum.
You know,
It's interesting though how things
street
I mean,
have.
I
naming.
had one in
Just
my
say
backyard, I'm like, oh, I
street
need to get with council.
voting with both fists.
Where I was going.
An option to naming rights.
Like a lot of things though, sometimes just word usage causes something to become a named entity.
Yes.
But in that case, they're actually, it was referred to that back in the day enough that the general populace recognized it as such. And then there's a period of time where most of the residents did not, that history did not get carried through It has not shown up, say, on the eastern quadrangle with that name on it, but there are a number of streams and tributaries of waterways that do have names, but still don't make it on the 7.5 minute quadrangle, or certainly not Google Earth and other things of that sort. So it is kind of interesting.
I would love to see something like that in the township, though. I think it would be awesome
Yeah.
to have a native microforest someplace that especially the students could go to.
Yeah.
How long ago was it established, do you know?
3,
It's-
4
No,
years?
it's been around 10 years.
Oh, maybe, okay.
It sounds like
See,
they have an
we're
awful
not,
lot
I'm not
there.
good, we're counting tonight, we're off.
Yeah.
So
But,
it's
oh, and the
pre-COVID.
other important thing is the signage, too. Signage is incredibly important. Their signs were very informative. They have a couple pedestal signs located throughout. They were grants, I believe, and beautiful artwork on them, a lot of information. And that's another thing from the Master Watershed Program about how important signage is. Because you can just walk up to you walk up to a meadow and it might be looking a mess because it's frozen out and everything's dead. But if you have a sign there, that captures the intent of what's behind it.
We had, and this might be something for us to think about as part of the next year, given the open space, and for particular, this particular referendum, item 1 or item A, whatever was first there, was to pay off the debt on Polk Valley Park. And a resident came to us, probably 2 years ago now, with an interest in having signage placed on many of the boulders that are positioned along the trail
Yeah.
there. And so, they do tell an important geologic story. And so doing something with some of those boulders and maybe other elements, trees and so forth at Polk Valley Park might be something for us to consider as a project to, as he put it, people walk here all the time. He said, in my case, I look at these boulders and I see differences between them, but I don't know what the explanation is. And it would enhance my use of this parkland if I knew what I was looking at, and if there was a story, what is the story?
Yeah, I never understood why there's all those boulders sitting up in the back there, behind the meadow.
So much of it is the fact that they are there. There were mine pits there. There's a history in that park. There was iron ore mines up there, and it is at a transition geologically where the rock types change dramatically because there's a hell of a story. And from standing there and looking at the topography reflects that history, that geologic history. So just like anything, if you have someone who has the expertise, they could piece that history together. So a geologist could do that. But there again, the trees, the vegetation, the Polk Valley Run itself has a history. So it's kind of interesting if you look at old literature and even some of the paperwork now that you trip over, it's often spelled P-O-K-E, Polk Valley Run, and Polk Valley.
Polk.
So there's a story there.
Not polk, but poke? Interesting.
So it's Polk pronounced, people called it Polk, and so it actually shows up written that way,
Okay.
often, parenthetically,
Okay.
or with quotation marks.
Well, knowing my children, I'm not gonna take them to Polk Valley Park because they're just gonna be doing this the whole time we're walking around. The last thing on the Lehigh Valley EAC is that we are in the process of trying to arrange another steering committee meeting in January. I don't know any details on that. We're trying to have a conversation based on some of the feedback from this last breakfast when we opened up the invitation to this breakfast. People don't know how to find any information on a Lehigh Valley EAC network. So I think we need to have a web presence, even if it's a simple one-page website that's got a way to post our calendar on there, that's searchable for Google, something that you can share events off of social media. So if we're going to continue to move this forward, but the momentum was there. What Easton is doing, they have some of the things, they have 750 trees they have to plant in the next 4 years, I think was one thing. They're doing cooling.
The light,
There was light.
darkness.
The Dark Skies.
Guys.
Dark Skies. They're working on doing that. There was a gentleman there, I forget his name, younger, and he's working on a regionalization of municipalities as well, which kind of overlaps with the Lehigh Valley EAC network. So I'm not sure how that plays out, but there's definitely an energy in there.
Yeah. It's good.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, good.
On the We Can Serve item here, Jennifer, Laura, Russ, myself attended the fall conference. Okay, I have some things to talk about from that. They had a lightning round, okay, where it was just quick success stories. One thing, as I'm well familiar with, campaign sign recycling. Okay, this is an initiative on a county level in Delaware, Chester, and Montgomery counties to collect and recycle the materials for campaign signs, which I think is a great idea.
And let me add to that. That was one of the things that came out of it was a great low-hanging fruit
Yeah,
to show success. So I would like us to add that as a possible research and goal. Yeah, so,
Well, how about as an activity, frankly?
yeah,
I mean, as a
it would be
scheduled
like
activity.
on a given day, like what they did. They,
a
I
couple
think-
weeks after
Yeah, a
the
couple
election.
weeks after, they posted it. Now, one place did it during the week and one did it on the weekend. But the problem is we've got to figure out who would collect them. Like, in other words,
Oh, I
we
was
could
gonna
arrange it, but who's the recycling company? And they,
Yeah, as far as who's the recycling company, I was just thinking as much like our road cleanup initiatives for the EAC, it's the kind of thing that if we want to make that a target action for us,
Yeah,
to frankly, the day after
exactly.
election, that's
Yeah,
one of our
so
initiatives.
If we're gonna go back to the calendar of events items, maybe we can start to look for a
Yeah, that's an
sign
easy win.
recycling event for after the election next year, or in future years if we can't get to it, but
yeah,
where
May.
us as
and then-
volunteers or an outside organization, or whatever, receives the signs, breaks them down, separates the metal components from paper and plastic, and then gets them to the right processing facility. There was a Dark Sky Week proclamation in Lansdale, which is something that maybe our council would be willing to consider, making a resolution about trying to minimize light pollution. Okay, responsible outdoor lighting use. There was a discussion on some invasive tree removals at a specific facility where they highlighted some of the progress that they made on that. Black willows, multiflora rosa, before and after, bittersweets, Japanese knotweed, which I pulled quite a bit of that out myself. But the two ones that I really wanted to talk about. Annual Children's Art Contest celebrating native species, okay? They have the kids submit artwork, and they pick out the students, children, residents of the township, 14 or age or younger. Subject matter must be of native species, mammal, bird, insect, amphibian, fish, trees, flowers, vines, reptiles, okay? I forgot exactly what the award prizes.
Bluebird boxes.
All the students entering the contest received a native wildflower seed packet. They were announced on social media, and I'm not sure what else there was on that. But, you know, and I know my printer ran out of ink, but you can just kind of get a little bit of an idea of some of the art that the kids are making. And then lastly, and most importantly, is a preserve and conserve resident education and rewards program. What this does is it provides a way for your residents to complete an online survey form on our website, the township's website or otherwise, where they list out how many sustainable practices they are doing at their property. If you have 15, you get a bronze level, and it gives you recognition on the website and in newsletters. If you have level 2, at least 20 sustainability practices, you get a sticker to put on your mailbox. If you've done 30 sustainability practices, you get all of the above, plus the township municipality donates a bare-rooted native tree to a public park where they have a residence grove specifically set aside for this. And then they, again, with signage, put up the resident's name in perpetuity at that tree. That's your tree for you doing the right thing at your house. Whatever it may be, using LED lighting, permeable asphalt, whatever it may be. A water restrictor, things like that. And I just think that that is an absolutely amazingly genius idea to help engage the community. We have so much park land here. I would love to talk to Parks and Rec and figure out if there's a place or a
Where's the
space where
place?
we could put a residence grove.
Yeah.
I think that would be something we should absolutely look at doing.
And also has an article on microplastics, which I was really interested in, and went into detail about it and what you can do to prevent, using microplastics and helping prevent the use of it. And they also had curbside enthusiasm, saying positive waste reduction opportunities and advocacy. And basically, also, they're using a new model ordinance to support plant and pollinators without the pitfalls. So people have more natural lawns, don't have your cookie cutter lawns, without having the ramification of, zoning. And also how local governments are taking climate action. The one that really referred to me, because I have a problem with trees, is protecting your trees, and that really explained a lot to me that I wasn't aware of. It was very enlightening, and that was from a director of Brandywine Conservatory and a planning of Brandywine Conservatory. They actually brought samples of trees and explained canopies and how you can harvest and how you should maintain your trees, and it was very educational. But I really enjoyed the presentations. And there was also a Master Watershed Steward Program, and I received an email. I wasn't being rude. I was looking through my phone. I got an invitation for a watershed. Did you get one too?
I am a master watershed.
Okay, because
Yeah.
it's like $175 to
125 something, yeah.
25.
$125. Yeah, because I was interested in that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that
it's a
gives us
wonderful program. And
60
with-
hours of work and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
fee.
and that's what Chad just finished.
Yeah, I just finished that this year.
Yeah,
Finish that.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
it's a
interested
great
in that.
program.
I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
yeah, fill it out. That would be great. Anyone interested, please.
Some things that other townships were working on that I see here, making sure, look through municipal comprehensive plans, climate action plans, net zero emissions, public works partnerships, shade tree initiatives, putting solar on municipal buildings, energy audits, using hybrid vehicles for police and public works, electric leaf blowers, so gas leaf blower bans.
I'll say, I looked it up too, because I had that in my notes. Lower Marion Township proposed that. It went to their council and it passed.
Really?
Yeah.
So they have banned gas
Gas.
leaf blowers. They're
Across
putting
the
it
board.
over a course of like 4 or 5 years, like next year, certain months you can't use it, and then the next year it's more, and then more. And then finally, they're, like, I think in 2029, you can't use them at all, and you can't, like, charge your electric one with a gas generator and
Oh.
things. And they have all, it's like,
Wow.
I was curious if that was gonna pass, but Lower Marion Township is very, forward thinking, let's say, on.
I actually have a Go leaf blower, and it outperforms my gasoline.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it really, and they
And,
rated it
you know,
second highest.
I have so many problems with the two-stroke getting gummed up.
Oh,
Yeah, I just
Right?
rather use
they're
electric
terrible.
just
So-
If you don't use the expensive gasoline, which costs $25 for a gallon,
Yeah,
it'll gum it up, and because the ethanol in it, it just screws it up. It
Yeah.
screws the valves, screws all the
so I can,
mechanisms.
I can see from even a function, a usability standpoint,
Oh, yeah, it's a nightmare.
it's a benefit.
Yeah, I just bought an electric one, and I have two gas ones, a backpack and another one, and I grabbed that electric one. It's lighter, it's powerful.
Yep.
I'm really pleased with it. Then, of course, the battery dies, you plug the other battery in and
off
charge
and
it,
going.
you know,
Always
yeah.
have two batteries.
And then you don't have to run out
Well,
to
if
the gas
anyone's
station.
interested, right now, before Christmas, if you go to Madel's Hardware, you buy a still, you get a free additional battery, which they're expensive. So it's a pretty good incentive.
Well, I got a chainsaw, Milwaukee chainsaw, and it came with a blower as a gift.
Yeah, wow.
So that really was a good thing. And I'll tell you what, that chainsaw beats the gas chainsaws every time. Because if you can get a gas chainsaw to start, you're lucky.
Okay,
That's all
Russ,
I have
was
on
this part of your Lehigh Valley report, or?
He
Okay.
went.
Yeah, then you're next on the agenda for Lehigh Valley report. If you have one, maybe you don't have one.
Planning Commission?
The planning commission.
No.
Alan, do
Maybe
you?
that one does.
Yes, last month, I mentioned that they had their draft climate change report on their website. And this month, they've upgraded it. It's the final report now. But it has a different name. Now it's called something like 2025 Lehigh Valley, 2025 report on Lehigh Valley resilience. They had to remove the climate change title. So if you look on their website and you go to the environment tab, I guess they call it, and you click on the top item in that tab, it'll come up, the final report. But it has the new name.
Resilience.
Doesn't say anything about climate change. I've been trying to get it on my phone, but I don't know how to use it.
I'll try to get it and I can send it out with follow-up notes.
And then, on the agenda here we already covered the EAC accomplishments, but I'm gonna email Kathy too and have Carol send you an updated version of this, because I think, at the very end of, if I'm reading this right, she mentions EAC is continuous president in Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, but I think she might mean the Lehigh Valley EAC. And so it might be worthwhile to mention that multiple members of this committee have been attending meetings as well as the breakfast meetings to just substantiate that more.
Yeah. The
Because
attendance.
that's new, that we've never really participated. And that group seems to be gaining steam.
Yeah, it is.
So I think our participation, I made it to the one meeting over there by Green Pond in that area in Bethlehem Township, but several of you went to the breakfast, obviously, at Quadrant. And that was a teaching morning for me, but that's great. I mean, I've not been to that. I'll go to that forest on my own now that I know where it is.
Yeah, check it out.
Ironically, I was on that bridge last Sunday, checking the flow of that stream. Because I had to testify on the mega warehouse proposal.
Oh, yeah, which got denied.
But,
Oh, got denied?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So it's ongoing.
There is hope.
There's always more appeals and so forth, but, and
And I will say, if you stop by Quadrant Book Market ever, get the chai latte. It's really good.
okay. We have no public comment, township correspondence, just the questions we raised, Carol, just for communication purposes. Before we get to the minutes, I just want to comment, I don't know how widespread this email went around to people, but I hope everybody knows that the Northampton County Court of Common Pleas granted partial judgment on the pleadings of favor of the plaintiffs regarding the Bethlehem landfill. And the important part is the court ruled that Lower Saucon Township's unilateral attempt to terminate longstanding conservation and scenic easements was void ab initio, legally invalid from the start. So that's very good news. And I guess if I knew you were bringing Christmas bags, I would have followed my wife's advice and brought a couple of bottles of champagne. She said, "You're taking champagne, aren't you?" So, anyway, that is quite news. Of course, reinstated the easements in full and confirmed that landfill expansion into the protected area is prohibited. So that was, that was all news to me when I saw that email today. from the
It was
landfill board.
actually illegal what the township did.
Yeah.
And we were just at, over by there today.
Yeah.
WFMZ came out and did an interview with some members, residents. Russ was there, myself, Victoria. So, and that was just on at 6 o'clock. I watched it like right before I came over. It was the lead story that they had.
Yeah, I taped it.
Yeah,
If you get a chance to check out yeah, if you get a chance, just watch that.
Video on demand.
overall, I mean, I think there's been with dealing with these negative issues can be frustrating and tiresome, but when you see positive outcomes from people speaking up and getting involved and expressing their values, that's very encouraging. Okay.
Yeah, I found the new name. The new name of the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission's Climate Action Plan is Pathway to a Resilient Greater Lehigh Valley Plan. Pathway to, and that's what the title is on their website.
Until the EPA outlaws pathways.
Pathways, yeah.
We're resilient.
Or resilient, yeah, or both.
Okay, that brings us to the review of the November 11th minutes. Does anybody have anybody see any issues?
No.
Carol, this is a much better way, I think, for minutes to be bulleted like this. It's so much easier for us and probably so much easier for you to deal with the recordings and so forth, I would hope. Yeah.
Did you get one with that? You wanted to add the four names?
Yeah, instead of 4 helpers.
And just so that it's on the record, Jennifer wants to add Chad, Laura, Jennifer, and Russell to the four helpers that collected for the document.
And could the numbers, like they used to do, be added, or is that not?
I didn't think it needed to be added, but if you wanted it to be added, I can do that as a draft.
I don't know, in the past it would, would have, each line was numbered, so you could say page 4, line. Oh.
For reference
And
purposes.
Yeah, for quicker reference, I didn't know that was no longer being done, it was changed, so it's, whatever.
Oh, yeah, line numbers would be nice.
Whatever's easy for you. I mean, when we had 30 pages, it was easier to do that. Now we have 3 or 2, so
Yeah.
it's up to you.
I'm not gonna add any more words, it's just,
That's not a problem. I can add them.
okay.
That's a matter of just setting the word to document them, enumerate them line by line. That's a formatting task, right?
It's up to what the group wants.
If it doesn't produce any more work, so basically instead of just initiating a bullet, it creates a line number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I add it to the draft and then I delete it when I post it.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
All right.
The motion to adjourn.
Or do we need to motion on the minutes?
Right. I guess I was assuming a tacit approval when no one brought anything up regarding the minutes. So no one,
Jennifer added the names, so
okay.
make the motion to approve the minutes as amended by Jennifer.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Adjourn.
Now, was that for the minutes? Or you?
That was for the minutes.
Minutes, so now a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Okay.
Okay. We're adjourned.
Aye.
So thanks, everybody, for a remarkably productive year and for all of your hard work and enthusiasm.